Little Blue House Productions presents Discovering Central Europe, a family adventure. Brought to you by the Wilson family. We're the Wilsons. Sherry, she's the mom and cameraman. Winter, she's the teenager. Sylvie, she's the comedian of the bunch. And me, I'm Jeff Wilson. I'm just the dad. Come along with us as we camp and explore through the Czech Republic, Hungary, Croatia, Slovenia, and Austria. We'll see a bunch of old stuff, eat some amazing food, soak up the sun, take in the views, make new friends, and hang out with some old friends. We're strangers in a strange land, with a month to spend discovering Central Europe. They say that home is where the heart is, but home for us Wilsons isn't necessarily a single place. It's just wherever we happen to be together as a family. We've traveled all over the U.S., spending every summer in our trusty camper, exploring the American West. But the kids are growing up, and we wanted to get them to Europe before they fly the coop. Winter just graduated from 8th grade, and Sylvie's headed into her last year in elementary school. It seemed like we'd better make our move before it was too late. Our journey starts, of course, with that proverbial single step. In our case, that means flying 5,000 miles from Ohio to Prague in the Czech Republic, via Detroit and Amsterdam.
We're in Detroit. We're getting on the plane to Amsterdam soon.
With 15 hours of flights and connections to cope with, it's best to have some diversions. There are movies for the kids and some adult diversions for us in the form of complimentary beverages. There, that's better. After a long night in the air, we change planes in Amsterdam. And soon we've picked up the rental car in Prague.
This is a nice car.
Little trouble starting the Passat, but we got it figured out. And now we're going to Lida Guest House. If I can get out of the parking garage. It's harder than it sounds.
Starting with the language barrier.
Prosím, vlodské lístek.
What does that mean?
It means please present your ticket.
Oh.
Or insert your ticket, maybe.
Hey, I studied some Czech on the plane. I'm sure we'll be fine.
Try not to get hit. It's a beautiful day in Prague.
We hope that our trusty GPS unit will show us the way.
Is this thing calculating? Locating satellites.
And we put ourselves in its control, heading into Prague. Before we start the camping part of our journey, we've decided to ease into the trip by spending a few days at Lida Guest House in Prague, where Jan and Yuri, our hosts, give us plenty of great advice, as well as a plentiful breakfast to keep us strong for our days of sightseeing. We have a spacious room with a kitchen and a funky loft that the kids love. Lida is an ideal, budget-conscious place to get our bearings. This first day, though, we just need to beat our jet lag by staying awake until it's actually bedtime in Prague. So we walk to nearby Vyšehrad, where we have a quick picnic, find the graves of famous Czech composers Smetana and Dvorak, play in the park, and have a little treat. Sylvie was happy that this guy found her lap. In the mornings, we leave Lida on foot, walking to the metro just a few blocks away. In 15 minutes, we're in the thick of things, wandering the cobblestone streets along with tourists from all over the world. Over the next couple of days, we traipse through Prague, seeing all of the sights. Prague Castle, the awe-inspiring St. Vitus Cathedral, Charles Bridge, Wenceslas Square. Since Prague wasn't bombed during World War II, the historic architecture and narrow, winding back streets are still intact, and we make the most of discovering Prague. At the Museum of Miniatures, you can see a flea with golden horseshoes or an etching on a poppy seed, all through the microscope. Later, Sylvie tries to make friends with the pigeons near the castle, and we enjoy a concert. Luckily, we happen to be at Prague Castle for the changing of the guard. Despite the tourists, Prague is still a working town. The churches and cathedrals are more than just works of art. Nuns gather for a midday service, and Czech families while away the day. And it seemed like everywhere we went in Prague, there was music. From a traditional Czech-themed band near the castle, to a couple of young cellists on Charles Bridge. To a fanfare announcing the start of a concert in a cathedral, to an impromptu blues jam from a second-floor window in Old Town. At the end of each day in Prague, we walk back along the Vltava River. Then it's back to the Lida, where we can access the internet to plan our next move and relax Czech style. It was hard to leave Prague and the idyllic Lida, but our next step promised more to explore. Český Krumlov, about 2 hours south of Prague in southern Bohemia, offers more incredible architecture and narrow winding streets. There's a castle, of course, with expansive gardens, a bear pit with real bears, and the Vltava River winding through the middle of it all. Our days consist mainly of wandering and exploring, with plenty of cafe stops where we can catch our breath, and if we're lucky enough to find some free Wi-Fi, catch up on some email. After the parents have had our espresso, the kids go for Tridelnik. I don't know if this pastry is Czech, but it seemed to be the local equivalent to a state fair elephant ear back home. Whatever it is, it's warm, sweet, and delicious. One evening in a local pub, things seemed a little slow, so the Wilson family decided to give a concert. First, me with a little blues and Mozart. Then Sylvie gives it a try. And last, Winter shows her stuff. And the curious crowds start trickling in. Hey, we're good for business. At night, we're staying in our tent at Camping Paradise near the village of Ryov, right on the Vltava River. The website for this small family-run camp says that it's a, quote, concert for the eyes, unquote, and that we will, quote, wake to the divine singing of the birds, unquote. It is, and we do. We especially appreciate the pavilion where we can cook a meal out of the rain while listening to some very eclectic Czech radio.
Czechula!
One of the best day trips to take while you're in Český Krumlov is rafting on the Vltava. We rent a 4-man raft and set out to see the countryside from river level.
It's a panoramic view, Český Krumlov.
Conveniently located about halfway through our trip is, of course, Mr. Milan's pub. For a few crowns, we can relax on the riverbank with dva velká piva, that's 2 large beers in Czech, see, I'm learning, and a couple of klobasa. Then it's back on the river for a lazy afternoon in the sun. Though we hated to leave Český Krumlov, our continuing adventure beckons, so we head to our next destination, Budapest.